Hello guys, MonkeyBot here, and we're continuing our development of the Immortal Empires campaign. So last episode we were talking about Cathey. We filled that in with quite a few interesting legendary lords, including the Monkey King. But today we're going to be moving slightly further east, and we're going to be combining the Mountains of Mourn and the Darklands. So, I think we've got a few interesting things coming up here, so let's get straight into it. So the Mountains of Mourn and the Darklands are a little bit more filled up currently than Cathey, but there are still quite a few legendary lords that I think will be fitting into these areas. A few obvious ones that we will kind of already know about. Obviously, I'll get into those later. And then there's a few extra speculations that I've got along the way. So let's just dive straight into the first legendary lord, which I've already mentioned several times on this channel. So let's start at the very north with Tamacon. So I'll keep this one brief. If you want to go into a deeper speculation with Tamacon, I've got my Thrones of Decay Nurgle prediction video where I talk about him quite a bit. In those videos, I talk about his start location being in Zanbanjin, just at the north of the Mountains of Mourn, where he starts his journey before he starts working his way down the Mountains of Mourn, crossing the Darklands, all the way up to Nuln and doing his final stand in Nuln. If you want to go check out my Thrones of Decay prediction video, it'll be on the top right hand corner there. Anyway, moving on to the next legendary lord, who is also going to be in the Thrones of Decay. I'm just going to get them all out of the way now. The next one will be Elspeth von Draken, who, again, will come alongside the Thrones of Decay DLC, but I predict that she will be starting in the North Mountains of Mourn in the settlement of Saber Mountain. This will be very unique for an Empire faction, and it puts her dead in the middle of the path of Tamacon, so she can stop her and slow her down. Again, if you want to check out that video, check out my Thrones of Decay prediction video for the Empire in the top right hand corner here. And the last legendary lord I think will be coming alongside the Thrones of Decay DLC will be Malachi Mackinson, and he will start in the dead center of the Mountains of Mourn in Carrick Azorn. Again, for the full prediction video of Malachi Mackinson, please click on the link on the top right hand corner of this video. Now let's get on to the stuff that I haven't talked about yet on this channel. Two of them are pretty predictable, and there's a third one in there which I think is a little bit of a throw in the dark, but I think it will also make sense at the same time. The first legendary lord that I think will be starting in this location, and I'm pretty sure you've heard this everywhere by now, is the Lahmian vampire bloodline, Neferata. A quick introduction to Neferata. She was the first vampire to be part of the Lahmian bloodline, and the Lahmian bloodline are not so much of a frontline fighters such as von Carsteins, but they're a very more manipulative, political vampire faction. Kind of think like the Tzeentch of vampires. I'm sure I'll get on to a full speculation on how our mechanics work in the future, but for now, let's just keep it brief because we've got a lot to get through, and let's talk about her actual start location. And she's pretty much got a very obvious start location, which will be the Silver Pinnacle. In the Silver Pinnacle right now, we have the vampire faction, the Lahmian Sisterhood, so it makes perfect sense that she would start there. I think the start location will be very interesting for her. She'll have a potential ally with Wurzag, who's very friendly with the vampire counts. But she'll also have a lot of enemies. She'll be near Umgrim, she'll be near all of the Chaos Dwarfs. You're very close to the Chaos Waste, so you'll likely be running into Archaon at some point. Maybe even Tamacon, if Tamacon ends up starting up there as well. So quite a few nice enemies to deal with, other than just the regular human factions that we get with all of the other vampire count legendary lords. Moving on to the next legendary lord that I think we'll be seeing. I think this will be quite an obvious one. We've gone from one undead lord now to the god of undead, which will be Nagash. For those of you that don't know about Nagash, he is the son of Ketept, one of the Tomb King legendary lords, and he was the very first person to be able to master necromancy, and ended up bringing himself back to life, being the very first undead creature to ever live on the Warhammer world. During his prime, he was a literal god. He could basically have the entire world of undead under his command, but eventually he got a lot weaker, and he's basically now a husk of his former self. And ever since then, he's been trying a variety of different ways to get back to his full strength. The last thing that we heard was there was a ritual at his start location that I will be predicting, which is quite obvious, which will be Nagashazar, is even named after him. But the ritual was interrupted by a Skaven clan, so he was again unable to get back to his former glory, and I think that's where his story will start. Although Nagashazar itself is a very defendable location, having one very thin choke point all the way to the settlement, I do think he's going to have quite a challenging start to his campaign, as everyone hates him. Everyone hates Nagash except the actual vampire counts. Even the Tomb Kings hate Nagash. And he's going to have quite a few powerful enemies nearby. He's going to have Queek to the west. He's going to have Imric to the east. He's going to have the Chaos Dwarfs everywhere. If you go down south, you'll have Khalida, who will hate you. So yeah, you have a lot to deal with in this campaign, but I think Nagash is going to be powerful enough to deal with it. If you've ever seen the Nagash mod, I can see his campaign working very similar to that, where he starts off quite weak, but becomes so super strong by the end of his campaign. So I think he's going to have the tools to deal with all of this chaos around him, but you're not going to have many friends. You're not going to have many friends at all, which is fine. We like campaigns like that. Have like a total war experience with Nagash, because that's what you're going to have. So I think Nagash is going to come as some sort of Lord pack, but I can't really see it being 3 legendary lords, but instead 2 legendary lords. And the other legendary lord that I think could come alongside this will be Thanquol. Thanquol is the last remaining Skaven character that was likely to be added to this game. He is the last big bad of the Skaven clans, except he kind of fails at everything. He's one of those, tries very hard and never succeeds, but he always seems to do a lot of damage and a lot of work. And he is a community favorite. I think everyone wants Thanquol and everyone wants Nagash, and I can see them being very big rivals. I know Nagash is being interrupted by Skaven clans during his final ritual, so why not make Thanquol succeed at something for a change, and actually he is the one to lead that Skaven clan into Nagashazar and stop the ritual of Nagash. So we know that if he is going to be part of the Lord Pack together, they're going to have to start relatively close to each other. I don't think they're going to be right next to each other, but it gives me the incentive to say that he will be in this area somewhere. But I think he's actually going to start in the Mountains of Mourn, on the east side of the Mountains of Mourn, in the settlement of Vale of Titans. This will be a really nice location for him. You would easily be able to go into Cathey if you wanted to. You could go down and fight the ogres if you wanted to. You could go north and fight Grimgor and Korelek if you wanted to. Or you could push in east and fight the Chaos Dwarfs, making your way down to Nagash and dealing with your rival that way. He will have a lot of enemies around him, but he'll also have quite a few friends as well. If you go east, you'll meet up with Tzeentch. If you go west, you'll meet up with Tzeentch. So you got some nice friends to help you out along your journey as well. And that's going to be it for the Darklands and the Mountains of Mourn. The map is really starting to fill out now with Cathey as well. But we still got a lot of the map to go, guys. So there's still going to be many potential characters to come alongside it. I don't know where I'm going to go next. I think I'll either go into the Empire or I'll go into the Badlands. I haven't really decided yet. I'll need to think about it, do a bit more research about some lords and where they could start, and see where we can go from there. So guys, let me know on your thoughts on these changes. Do you like them? I think a lot of them are predictable, like Nagashazar is very predictable, Neferata is very predictable, but the other 4 legendary lords are a little bit flexible in some ways. But let me know what you guys think. Do you like these changes? Where do you want me to go next? Do you have a preference if you want to go into the Empire or do you want to go into the Badlands? Let me know with that as well. But until then, guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye for now.